Julia, if you wouldn't mind telling me a little bit about Friday the 13th, and let's go back and recap on what happened on that day.
Well, on Friday the 13th, myself and Richard went down to London to the Westminster Magistrates Court to hear the judge's ruling on Richard's extradition case. It wasn't a good result. The judge ruled that there was nothing to stop Richard to be extradited to America, which was very disappointing because at one of the earlier hearings in November, the judge had said that we had a good, strong argument, and he seemed almost to toss that out of the window and in favour of extradition. So now we've got a little time, and we need to decide whether we're going to appeal. Well, we will be appealing on that judgment.
The media response after the appearance of both you and Richard, and when you broke down outside the court, the impact after that scene was absolutely colossal. You were the most watched video on BBC. The comments that were placed on all the articles that were published on newspapers that allowed comments online was absolutely colossal. Were you surprised by the huge response from the world media?
Well, obviously the media have been following the case, and that was quite a crucial point in Richard's case. But yes, no, I wasn't really expecting such colossal response from the media. And I was very angry, if you like, on that day, because I felt as if all the work that we'd put in on proving that the alleged crime is not an offence in this country, the judge was almost dismissive of that, and I couldn't understand why, because he'd previously said the argument was strong, and that's what you have to do, win the argument, really. In terms of the media, I mean, the coverage is necessary, because this needs to be kept in the public eye, because if it can happen to Richard, it can happen to others. You know, others will be at risk if America wants to exert its jurisdiction across the world, and if this country continues to have no protections for UK citizens within its extradition laws.
One or two comments that I read were quite critical, and if I may just reference one of them said, how can this very middle class academic turn up to court in a Mickey Mouse jumper? How do you feel when people say some negative things like that?
Well, you know, we have asked whether Richard needs to be wearing a suit to the court, and we were advised it wasn't necessary. So Richard would just wear his normal attire, student attire, hoodies. He never wears T-shirts that don't have either a logo or a picture on, so, you know, that's normal for him.
On the way back, and possibly on the way forward to and from that court date, there was TV cameras on the train. Were you surprised with the absolute force of the media?
Well, no, actually, just to put the record straight, there were two teams on the train on the way to London with us. I knew that they were going to be there. That was arranged because we didn't have time on the morning before leaving to go to London for everybody to have time with the people that wanted to speak to us. And it's been necessary to speak to the press, and I have to say the media has been very supportive. It was just coming out of the court when there were so many people there. I was dreading having to repeat the story over and over again, but as it happened, because they were all just in a circle, I only had to make the statement once, so it wasn't too bad. It just got a bit tiring after a while.
That's completely understandable. The days after Friday the 13th, can you tell me, was it very, very hectic and pressurised?
Yes, it wasn't. I'm not sure whether to describe it as pressure. It was busy. It was busy for quite a few days afterwards, with people wanting to cover the story and know a bit more.
And the last time we spoke, Julian Assange and WikiLeaks was very much in the media eye. Now it's SOPA and PIPA. What are your views on SOPA and PIPA, which are as big in the US media as Richard has been in the UK media?
My main view on that is that I don't really agree with America seeking to lay down laws which affect the internet, because the internet is worldwide. So in effect, America is trying to make laws for other countries. Well, we can't do that. So to me, that is the part that's wrong. Regardless of what they are trying to do in the law, the fact that they are even trying to say that we will in effect police the internet for the world, when the rest of the world hasn't actually agreed that America can do that. So they're trying to enforce those laws on the world.
You've always been a strong presence on Twitter, but social networking and YouTube especially in the last few weeks have really brought Richard and his name out into the public domain.
Well, social media is the way, especially on Twitter, is the way to get your story heard. And on top of that, I do have a lot of supporters on Twitter who initially suggested that I use Twitter. And these are the supporters of other people threatened with extradition to America in the main, because I have contact with those people. We're all in it together. We support one another. There's a small group of people who have never set foot out of the UK and are still America, again, trying to exert its legal jurisdiction over the world when people have never set foot in America. These are not people who have fled the scene of a crime. They're not fugitives from justice in America. They are people who have never set foot in America. And if they have committed a crime, they did it in the UK. So to my mind, they should be charged with an offence in the UK if it's a crime in the UK.
What would you say to the critics who say, although Richard didn't commit a crime in the UK, he facilitated copyright infringement through providing a search engine, and in that instance he deserves to be punished?
Well, as I've just said to you, if Richard has committed a crime in this country, let's bring on a British prosecution. He can't just be extradited to America because America has different laws. In England, we don't live by the laws of America, so we shouldn't be expected to know them. Or should we? Should we all be taught the laws of America, even though we might never go there? So, I totally agree. If Richard has committed a crime, let's let him be charged with it in England.
What I spoke about earlier was one example of a negative and critical reaction to it. There have been a lot of people who've sympathised and empathised with your situation, and some are very strong in voicing the opinion that he's a guinea pig and has been made an example of. Would you say this is quite true and accurate?
In terms of being a guinea pig, America already exerts its jurisdiction on British citizens that have never been to America and allegedly committed a crime. So I don't necessarily... They may be trying to use him as a guinea pig from the point of view of the internet laws, but they've already done this to Richard before those laws have been introduced. Well, I strongly feel that we have a sufficiently strong argument which supports the fact that the conduct which Richard is accused of, which is linking to other websites, having no infringing content held on his own website, that is not a crime in this country. So we need to pursue that, because in previous cases it has been shown that is not a crime in this country.
With regard to the legal costs and the fees, A dot-com millionaire has come out, Mr. David, and said that he's willing to pay the fees required if Richard is brought to trial in America. Is this something that you actually are aware of or know much about, or is he totally separate?
Well, I became aware of it probably when everybody else became aware of it, because I saw it on a video, and that was quite shocking, really. Shocking and a bit overwhelming, really, that somebody would be so kind as to do that. So that really is very much appreciated. We're just hoping that it won't come to that, and that we won't be forced into a US trial situation. But it's reassuring to know that somebody has been good enough to make that very generous offer.
Gary McKinnon is a name that has been mentioned continually in relation to your son. Have you had much connection with the Gary McKinnon camp?
Well, yes, I am in touch with Gary McKinnon's mother, because she's very supportive, knowledgeable, very well informed about the extradition law and the whole process that people have to go through. So she's been a great source of information for me, because when you get presented with that word extradition, you get no information at all provided by the Home Office or the police. It's just, there you go, nothing, no leaflet, no information, advice, not one word at all given to you. So you have to go and fend for yourself and find out. I had to come home and start looking on the internet to find out what it all meant.
How has he been affected himself? You mentioned that yourself that you've been very busy and there's been a lot of media presence. How is he coping with everything?
He's just trying to get on with his life as normal, really, and carry on at university and with his work placement. And he tries not to let it bother him too much until we've got a court appearance. And he's not that keen on speaking to the media himself, because he's limited as to what he can say anyway. But yeah, he's just trying to carry on as normal.
A number of critics have also mentioned, and this will be the last time I draw a reference to this, that they have said that because he made money on tvshack.net, that it does not look favourably in his opinion. The quotes regarding the money he's made vary from 120,000 up to £250,000 dollars. Pounds. Everyone has their own dramatic views on how much money Richard made. Can you tell me, what kind of money did he make, and what was it used for?
They say he made approximately $230,000. That equates to about £146,000. That was over a 3-year period. He made that money from advertising on his website. An American and a Canadian company approached him and asked him if they could place their ads on his site. Now, you could argue they should have been exercising some due diligence and shouldn't be promoting their advertising on a website that could be illegal in America. Richard didn't set out to make money by setting up the website. He did it as a hobby and to use his skills that he'd learned at university.
Over the next few weeks, what will you yourself be doing, and Richard, in preparation for the potential appeal?
Well, Richard will be carrying on as normal, I guess, and I am already, researching, see what we need to prepare for an appeal. Well, just help us keep this high profile, because, as I said earlier, if they can do this to Richard, a student in his digs making a website like this, they can, it's not just about any copyright infringement, it's about other activities on the internet. And if you have any connection with America, they will use that to exert their jurisdiction and aggressively pursue extradition.